All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Late Tonight on Base. Today it is Wednesday, June 10th, and I'm back at it with the suit that I wore yesterday, but I love this suit, man. I look fly, bro. I like it. I still need a haircut. I don't know why I haven't got one. Do not know. Maybe I'm just too busy being one of the 5 people left in crypto. Myself, Mischa and his community, Nockchain's community. Really dope show today, by the way. Very excited to talk deep with the real builders who are still alive in crypto, who are doing things, who are pushing, like Mischa0x, man. Jeez. I'm telling you right now, that team is cooking. They've been cooking since January, maybe. I don't know. Anyone building in January, they're building BVSX, and they're still here, and they have a ton of cool things that they're going to feature. So I'm excited to talk to him. Nockchain, dude, Nockchain is like over 100 million market cap as a couple weeks ago. So they clearly have been doing something really well. So looking forward to having them. Basically, builders in this arena, in this market at this moment. If you're here, if you are pushing, when the bull comes back again, and it will, those are the teams that you need to look at. All right, so a few things out of the way. Number one, nothing I say on this show is financial advice. I think that should be very obvious. So if you see my disclaimer when we first opened up, I have a disclaimer. Everything is just educational content only, and that's true. I do not own anything that I'm actually making it a rule now going forward that anyone that I bring up on this show, I don't own anything. And if I do own something, I'll let you guys know. Crazy people have been saying like, "Oh, you dumped on me." I'm like, "What? No, I don't." First of all, I don't really trade anymore. Second of all, literally, that is not what I do. Not bring people on the show to dump on you. I don't have that kind of motion. I also am not a criminal. So I'm making it very clear. Everything on this show is just strictly educational content, people that I think are doing dope shit. And I want to just bring the audience up to speed. I do not endorse anything. Number 2, shout out to the already 250 plus people tuning in. Late Night on Base. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Might be a bear market, but it's not a bear market in Late Night on Base. Number 2, this episode and all the episodes for the month of June are brought to you by Send, peer-to-peer cash sent digitally all around the world in a sleek and mobile UX with privacy features built in. Download the Send app today. I'm excited. We're going to have Ethan on full episode Monday, and we're going to talk about all the things that they've done. And like I said, I am a huge fan of Send, huge fan of Ethan, and it's the era of the neobanks. And tune in Monday for that one. All right. Inflation, crazy. Who cares? Let's get right into it. And let's talk some cool stuff, cool alpha, cool crypto with projects we're building. And it's time to bring on Mischa0x, my friend. How are we doing today? Welcome to the show.
Doing well. Doing well. I love the enthusiasm.
I like your microphone. Is it are you a Yeti fam like me?
We have the same microphone.
That's why I knew you were going to be a winner.
I never know if it's actually good or not, though, because obviously I'm the one speaking, and but you sound great. So like I'm assuming I sound just as good.
You sound great. Honestly, most guests, I expect them not to have a microphone. So the fact that you showed up with a microphone, it means you mean business, sir. It means you mean business. But listen, let's talk. I gave you some flowers because I wanted to say, you've been pushing since January. So, okay, right now we have 418 people tuning in, 420. Like I said, we're going to at least have 2K. I literally only get 2K plus. I'd say probably 3K today, but a lot of them might not be familiar. Because the space moves super fast. So may not have been familiar with BVSX or you. So why don't we start from the beginning, brother? What is BV7X?
BV7X is a protocol. It's similar to Bitensor that incentivizes compute for prediction markets. So it's effectively a prediction market for any asset built for agents and humans alike. But it's specifically designed for agents since they can process signals, form price views, and act on them at a scale and speed much faster beyond you and I can do. So you can think of it as like a two-sided marketplace. On one side, participants stake BV7X tokens to back a price prediction. So the closer and more contrarian your position is at settlement, the larger your payout. And then the other side is this compute can be purchased by signal and edge seekers. So external buyers who pay to access the crowd's aggregated price intelligence. So there's two revenue streams going on: the pool distribution from compute stakes and a cut of signal sales. So the protocol takes 2% of each pool and 20% of the signal revenue. So people that are buying the signal, and then the rest flows back to the forecasters who put their conviction on the line. So it's very much like a heavy duty protocol.
Interesting. Okay, so there's multi-sides. We'll get into this real quick. Shout out to Danny Finnegan. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Danny, for coming on. Okay, so it's really producing revenue. It's a prediction market for agents. Let's start with, and then also there's the inference key, which is profitable. So right now, currently, this is not a theory state. You're actually making money on this protocol, correct?
Yeah. I mean, just to be like completely transparent about that, I mean, most of the revenue is coming from DEX fees, so it's actually not coming from the protocol, but there are over 5,200 agents that are competing in an arena specifically for Bitcoin. And those agents are actually like staking like BV7X and doing the whole thing. The full protocol hasn't been fully launched yet. It's not finished. Production is not finished, but I mean the closed beta is technically done, and we actually want to open it this Friday. And if we get time today, like I can actually demo you what the closed beta looks like. And
I absolutely want to see that, and we want to do demos. We love live demos on the show. Shout out to the 700 people. Okay, so again, the whole point of this show, and I think it's important, is we want to try to dumb down ideas because AI, especially, is some of the most sharp, intelligent minds like yourself. The thing is a lot of people just don't understand. Like they hear the words compute, they don't know what that means. They hear the words even prediction markets, they don't know what that means. Agents doing prediction markets. So my goal is to simplify complex topics for the average person to understand. So let's circle back then with prediction markets for agents. Obviously, prediction markets in the normal human world, there's Kalshi, there's a whole bunch of them where you can predict certain events. Why don't we start there? Why is there a need for a market for agents to have their own prediction market? Where do you see that direction heading? Like, what are they going to be predicting on?
Yeah, good question. I mean, so generally speaking, like an agent right now, right? I mean, if you have an agent deployed, you can technically like wire it into Polymarket or Kalshi or any of these prediction markets, which is basically what I was doing when I first was playing around with this stuff. You know, Polymarket had released this SDK. I got sucked into Claude Code, and I was starting to build bots on my own. So like me as a non-technical founder who's been like building in crypto for a while, like, you know, I found it super fascinating that like all of a sudden now I was able to ship things super fast and arguably faster than like my CTO and my other projects with Claude Code. And, you know, now that like Fable or Mythos is out, like things are getting really interesting right now, but that's, you know, besides the point. So anyways, like technically you could do these things on Polymarket or Kalshi already. However, it became like very clear to me back in February that the future was going to come a lot faster than most people thought. You know, again, now that like we have Mythos or Fable here and things, you know, in terms of like shipping and building products are happening within like one-shotted attempts, which is insane, right? So like me as a founder who's been building like DeFi protocols that have held over like $100 million of assets, took like months or years to build. Now you can do these things like literally in a day without like doing like the audits and everything. So I wanted to build a protocol that anticipated this future. I understood that there were going to be many more agents that were going to be conversing with each other than humans, or at least that's what I theoretically think is going to happen. And I think like a lot of the base ecosystem can agree with me there. And that's the reason why I decided to build like an agent specific protocol. I mean, like I said, when I was describing BB7X in the beginning, I mean, agents can technically do things so much faster than you. And if you have an agent that just exists, that's just live, that's doing like a very simple sort of, you know, if it's just following the rules to like, you know, it has its regression or it has its algorithm and it's just doing like, it's making a prediction on a prediction market or buying long or shorting something on a market. Like these things are really easy to do. You don't need humans anymore. You can just like set these things and forget them in a way. And so like when I started building out BB7X, I really wanted to, it became like very evident to me that like, if you actually have something that is highly accurate, or at least accurate enough that can make you money, let's say on Polymarket, which I was doing with these Bitcoin up or down markets, it'd be great if you could just like let this thing ride on itself. And so expanding beyond Bitcoin, like SpaceX, like whatever financial asset, or I mean, you know, maybe like weather markets or whatever, you can have these things essentially like operating by themselves. And so like you have to, so I started looking at the world very much through the agentic lens. The agentic lens, how agents commerce with each other as well, and how these things can just exist. And so that's what BB7X is designed for. Like everything that we do, from infrastructure to like marketing, is very much designed for people that are like launching agents. And like, you know, I have one agent, but I mean, people can launch thousands of agents. And so like, think about like this arena or this prediction market that I have with BB7X. You don't really have to only just deploy one agent or strategy for an agent. You can deploy many. I actually did that for like SpaceX. Like I actually was researching like what happens pre-IPO or post-IPO valuations. Like what tends to happen in like super hyped up IPO situations. And there are multiple things that happen. And so like you as a human you're not able to like trade based on these sort of different situations, but you can with like many agents. And so like that's really the idea here.
Yeah, interesting. And I think because I was noticing some of your things that and I really do want to see it. Basically, you were suggesting that the SpaceX IPO demo tonight on the show. I really want to see some sort of demo because I think being able to visualize is one thing, but able to see it in action, whether it's a beta or just something, it goes a long way. And by the way, this episode will be put on Spotify in a few days. And if you're listening on Spotify, please head over to, we keep all our recordings on YouTube as well. So we'll make sure link it to YouTube. On YouTube, you'll be able to see this fit like in eye to eye. Obviously, we're on X, but X doesn't have replay value. So go to YouTube. Let's demo it, man. Show us some things. Give us some stuff that we can see with our own eyes.
Sure. Let me see. I don't think I've ever demo or done a live. We're sharing my screen here, but I think I can figure it out.
Yeah. And shout out again to the 1,300 plus people tuning in live late on base with Misha from BV7X.
Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes, I can. Show me. All right. And this is in your beta page, right? This is not open to the public.
This is the closed beta, yeah. So for the last month or so, we've been accepting registrations, and so now we're pretty much full, and we're gonna open up the closed beta to everyone that's signed up in about a week or so.
Okay.
But can you see my screen?
I can see it. What will SpaceX share price be on June 13th after its IPO?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna do the demo for SpaceX, but just to click on like the Bitcoin tab here for a second. So like BV7X, the origins are very much based on the Bitcoin up or down market from Polymarket. So some more context, right? Like I built BV7X specifically just to monitor Bitcoin price because I wanted to monitor Bitcoin collateral for this other project I was building, Bitvault, which is a structured credit facility where you can borrow against your Bitcoin and deploy into institutional yield strategies. So I realized that like, okay, I have AI, I have LLMs, I have these tools that can essentially build something that's very similar to like a Bloomberg terminal. And that's what I did for Bitcoin. Along the way, I realized that, I had so much data, there's so much data out there for Bitcoin, and me with like a finance background and working in crypto and also in corporate finance for a while, I was able to like whip something up for in a basically like a month or so that had like a high accuracy in predicting Bitcoin being up or down using the Polymarket markets for 7 days. And so I was making like quite a bit of cash for about a month or so. And then I decided to like really go down the rabbit hole of like productizing this thing that I had built. So not only for Bitcoin markets, but for any financial asset and perhaps like other markets in the future. And so actually it wasn't even until like last Friday where I told my team like, hey, let's capitalize on like the SpaceX IPO moment here. Like this is a generational thing. Everyone's talking about it. It's arguably probably sucking the liquidity out of crypto, and having everyone deploy into this market. And so like I've actually did my master's thesis on like determining the valuation of IPOs using like the volatility of the markets. And so I was like, what, let's just do this. This is like a perfect example of how you can use the BV7X prediction market or Open Arena to determine the future price of the SpaceX or SPCX. So I'll just go through this like top down, right? So in the top, you can connect your wallet. You can also buy compute, which is BV7X, it's the token. So we call it compute because it's very similar in essence to, let's say, if you wanted to buy tokens for, buy tokens from Anthropic to run queries with Claude or ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever LLM that you're using. But so anyways, there's 3 tabs here. There's submit compute, there's signal, there's earn, and there's an FAQ for people that want to look at, for people that want to learn more. But anyways, for submit compute here, right? This is a page designed for anyone that has conviction in what they think the price of SPCX will be at T+1 after the IPO. So you see that it settles in a couple days. You see right now that there's an aggregate of 100, should be actually 165 agents that are in the arena. Hyperliquid is reading $163 of the pre-IPO valuation right now of the price of the asset. So you just have the visualization here. And so this is essentially how it works, right? Let's just use an example. So right now, pre-IPO price is $163. I think because there's so much hype and momentum for this generational IPO, that the price is probably going to end up at 205 or something. Let's just do that. for T+1. And
real quick, when does it settle? Is it like at 12:01 a.m. on the day of June 13th, or like how does, or maybe like at what point is it the end of the closing day of the IPO day, like 2 p.m. Eastern?
Well, because this will be tradable on chain, which means it's a 24/7 market.
Sure.
We decided to use 12 p.m. Eastern time, which is
Got it.
effectively what the settlement time I think is what Polymarket uses as well. So we use the same settlements. There's no asymmetry there. So anyways, I choose 205 at 2T+1. I have, let's say, relatively a high conviction, so I'll just like move that to 50,000. And you can see here in the pool positions, right, that like my prediction is a little bit contrarian, right? You can see a lot of the predictions that have been made already are somewhere between 135, which I think is like what the what they're launching it at, and then right now, obviously, like the valuation has been coming down from.
So you're
above
bullish.
200.
You're bullish.
Well, for now, let's just say I'm bullish, right? And I do believe in Elon. I don't know if I would go 205, but like I would say, actually, you know what? I'm fine to share what I think is going to happen. I think if there's so much hype to this that in the first like 24 hours, the trading is going to be nuts, and it's going to be trading at a premium. But I think the market is so volatile, uncertain, that I think in the next like 30 days it'll probably trickle down below the IPO price. But listen, don't listen to me, please. This is just what I think. And
not financial advice, people. Not financial advice.
Not financial advice. Also, this is the reason why I've deployed like 15 agents of my own that with different strategies that are doing, that are essentially managing different strategies, right? Yeah. So like that's the cool thing with what you can do with BB7X is that you can deploy these multiple strategies and agents that are handling this for you. So let's just say that SpaceX or SPCX actually settles around where I'm predicting it, right? Like let's just say it's at 204. My payout, because this is quite a contrarian wager, would be massive, right? Now, if SpaceX settled around,
did that say 133,000, bro?
It did, yeah. And so if it settled around 150, it would be a lot less, because obviously I'm way off, and the guys around here like nailed it. So then you can see like the metrics down here. The total pool is 151K. We take a 2% fee of the overall pool, so that's how much we make revenue, and then the net pool is right here. So this is how the prediction or the submit compute page works. So I'll stop there if you have any questions.
No, that's super cool. Okay, so dumb it down for me again, because most people might think this is super cool, but since this is for agents, so would I have to have my own agent to participate in this? Because obviously this is not Kalshi. I can't just like human can't do it, but like, can I direct my agent to be like, hey, I want to participate in this, or I want you to, or how does that work? Or can a human still access it?
No, humans still can access it. I think this is a design choice of ours. I think like if we launched this immediately for just agents themselves and had people wire them in, it would be very hard to have like game film, I would say. I mean, perhaps we could show that there were many agents that were deployed in the arena and doing the thing, but like the UI, the UX is very much designed for you and I to like go in here and place your bets. But obviously, like if you have an agent and you want to like use the command line, like you can do the same thing. But yeah, so like we wanted to have at least like a easy enough UI UX to use for people.
No, I think that's a smart move actually. Real quick, want to give a shout out to Still Capo. He reposted the stream. He also commented, "Appreciate you, my friend. One of the OG legends for many years in ETH and ETH chain and just a bunch of different projects. A legend. it's always great to have someone of his stature shine light on the base ecosystem. I appreciate him. And I'm sure your community does as well. So thank you for tuning in. Also want to give a shout out to the AVAX community over on the arena. We are multi-chain everywhere. We are not just a base project anymore. We are all over. We eventually plan to have a late night show on literally every chain. AVAX community, I appreciate each and every one of you on the arena. Elric, good day from NYC. Elric, you are an absolute Chad, tuning in every day. Appreciate you, Jason. Thank you for tuning in. We are live with Misha from BV7X, 2,600 plus people tuning in. Okay. So when does this get out of beta? When can the random person be like, I want in, I want to use this, I want to have fun? Because I think also another thing is, especially when the market's dry like this, people are going to start turning into using prediction markets as a different way of, instead of, maybe token prices here and there, it's a way to have fun and participate. So when do you plan to get this outside of beta?
Closed beta will be open to everyone that registered for about a month. Q3 is when we're targeting going live. So the staking contracts, I mean, there's quite a bit of research on the design that's still ongoing right here, and more just like back end infrastructure. But I would say it's pretty much near done. And I think, given the scope, it's pretty much going to be doable to complete by Q3. I'm just going to say Q3 because I don't want to, I don't want people to think that it's going to be July, August, or September. But Q3 for sure. This thing is going to be going live.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you just cut out.
Yeah. All right, so let me ask you this. Obviously, it is really admirable that, you not only are you pushing, you're innovating, you're continuing to do so. You didn't just launch yesterday, you launched January, February timeframe. And it's commendable because we're not in a market where, prices are great. But you're still shipping. How do you handle as a dev? Because I think other devs, other teams, community people can, really learn from you. How do you handle and separate the noise from, maybe prices aren't doing that, but still having the passion and dedication to build top of the line products? Does it affect you if prices aren't great? And if not, and it seems it doesn't, like, what's your mentality like in market conditions like this?
I mean, I think it's probably important to bring up that I am a seasoned veteran. I've launched projects. I've launched several projects at this point. I launched a project called Popcorn, a DeFi for Good platform in 2021. Raised 12 million for that. Spent all year building it, and then we launched literally right when the correction happened in 2022, and then FTX happened, and then we were in a bear market for a while. So I've experienced building with a token that is on a downward trend before, and there's nothing you can do about it because the bear market takes over. And so you really just have to have the mentality of I mean, obviously this is easy to say, you have to separate the market and the price or market cap of what you're building from actually what you're building. But I've done it for so long that it's very easy for me to just be wired in. And I think I'm lucky enough to have survived however many cycles at this point. And I think I'm just ultimately built to be, an entrepreneur in crypto. So the volatility doesn't really bother me. I think after investing in Ethereum in 2016 and, ending up with however much I had in the end of 2017, and then everything died, again, I've survived a few pretty bad bear markets. So I think also another important thing to point out is what's happening right now with AI is unprecedented, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're a builder in this space and you actually have a solid product or idea and you have conviction in what it is that you're building, that should be good enough to help you to keep going, right? Because there's three times in which I was super excited about being a founder or builder. One is when I discovered Ethereum. So I didn't know what I wanted to build, but I knew I wanted to build the smart contracts. Second time was with DeFi. When DeFi summer happened and people started like, farming Compound and Yearn, and, no one really knew what was going on, but like it became very clear that that sort of was like the validation for a lot of the existence of crypto. And third time for me is the advent of AI, LLMs, more specifically Claude Code, being able to ship things at what feels like the speed of light. you know, um, Unreal, right? Like we're going. This is the industrial
Unreal.
revolution part two, right? So like, by 2027, not only like finance, but the whole world is going to be completely operating on a different level. So like, if you're building right now in this particular space, and even going even more into like the base ecosystem, which seems like kind of like where all this stuff is coming out of, or BitTensor, if you want to like add them, because there's a lot of interesting things obviously happening there. By the way, I feel like what I had created ultimately was sort of like a mirror of BitTensor. I just didn't realize I was doing it until like a month or so into it. But anyways, yeah, now is the time. Like if you're actually interested in the thing that you're building, like you will make it. So this is my advice to people that are building in the AI, the base ecosystem, or with any of these sort of like tools. Like just keep going, because you're probably way ahead of anyone else on Earth with this stuff. I have an obsessive personality as well. I never thought I would have actually gone as far as I have with like Claude Code and understanding like everything that's going on. And basically learning to be an engineer through not being an engineer, but by like utilizing these LLMs and Claude Code specifically. So like my mindset has like completely changed because of this stuff. It's like super fascinating. So I don't know. Hopefully I answered your question.
You did. You're basically showcasing not only are we in the right moment to build, obviously everything you're saying I agree with. It's the AI speed is advancing at breakneck speeds, and what a year from now is going to be completely different than what it is now. So you're building something that you truly see growth in, and you're participating in the ground floor, and it's helpful that you have the experience in building in crypto to weather these storms. It's not always as bad as it seems. Things are cyclical in this industry, and yesterday I saw the $170 million raise, and it just means that prices kind of overall aren't the best, but this industry looks stronger than ever. So Mischa, my friend, BV7X 3400 plus tuning in. We'll have a couple clips made for you by tomorrow. Tag it. But dude, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you. Do I have time to just show you one last thing, because it was part of like the closed beta?
Why don't you show it real quick, and then we'll get Logan on. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is basically the other part of the closed beta. So like I showed you in the previous screen, you as an agent or a human can make your predictions, and then we have the other side where you can actually buy the prediction or the signal, right? So we have these visualizations that show you exactly like where people or agents are predicting where the SpaceX or SPCX price will be T+1 after the day. We have this distribution. People are 31% of the agents or people are predicting that we're going to be around 111 to 179. We're kind of at 179 right here. This isn't actually reflecting what's at the pre-IPO price on the other page, which is 163. But anyways, you get the idea, right? So like some people think there's a moonshot. We're kind of existing in the middle here. We have the IPO dip, and then you have other metrics to sort of support exactly like what's happening here. So I just wanted to quickly show that, because like this is super important for people that are not making predictions and they just want to literally like wire into this, and they're relying on the aggregate agentic prediction of the protocol. So anyways, that's all I wanted to show you.
I mean, that's super helpful. Just seeing that graph, seeing kind of where the outliers are, and if you're willing to risk it a little bit, you can be like, okay, consensus is not there. Let's go further down the curve. Super cool, my friend. Well, listen, dude, I appreciate you. I'm fairly certain this is not the last we're going to speak. I'm really impressed by your project, and can't wait to have you on again in the near future, my friend.
All right. Yeah. Thanks. This was a good time.
All right, my friend. Thank you very much. All right, that was Mischa from there you go. There you go. Mischa. Well done, man. Yeah, BV7X. Okay. Very cool project. Again, I love builders who are just pushing the envelope since January. So they're not in it for the first, quick run. They've been in it for a while. And I really do like the prediction angle market for agents and humans alike. I think it's going to be really well. We'll see what SpaceX opens up in a couple days. All right, before we bring up Logan from Nockchain, we are going to play a quick word from our sponsor. And we love Send digital cash peer-to-peer all around the world with privacy features built in. Download the iOS store today. Let's make sure we get this, though. We might have to come back to that. Sorry, Send. It's a dope video, though. Is it this one? Okay. Well, anyways, I will get back to the video in a little bit. But without further ado, let's bring up Logan from
How's it going, man?
Logan, what's going on, bro? How you doing?
Doing great.
Hold on, I gotta show some love to let's get this little banner up there. Actually, let's put your name on there.
Nockchain, man, with a C, N-O-C-K.
Oh man, what? I spelled it wrong. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know
That's
why
all
that
right,
was the case. Yeah, I knew that. Live with Logan from Nockchain. All right, brother, talk to me, man.
We've got a lot going on right now, man. It's amazing. So we've been building Nockchain since 2023. We've been working on this for a really long time. And in general, the picture is we've been building the ultimate chain that uses zero knowledge proofs to do anything you'd ever want to do with zero knowledge proofs. So what does that mean? It means that anything that can be verified is going to be verified. So we're obviously interested in building applications that can be verified with zero knowledge proofs, like privacy applications, like basically high frequency trading type stuff that isn't all going to want to settle on chain directly. But what we've been thinking about for the longest time, and what Nockchain was originally built to do, is to be an experiment in proof of useful work. That was the whole original concept around it. And we've been talking about this for a long time, but we started Nockchain as an experiment in using proof of useful work to incentivize and subsidize the creation of these zero knowledge proofs. So we saw this crazy problem in the industry back in 2022 and 2023, where we said, okay, there's all these companies doing R&D, trying to make proofs for this or proofs for that, but we don't really see a viable business for proof providers, for people to just be running and building all these proofs. So how are you going to get people to have all these amazing use cases if you can't get a bunch of hardware running the computation necessary, right? If you can't make it viable for businesses to be providing proofs, then you can't build all these amazing use cases that need the proofs. So we said what we're going to do is we're going to use proof of work to incentivize zero knowledge proofs. So we're going to make any computation verifiable, so you can tell exactly what that computation did, what it was running, and what its result was in a tiny little kind of zip file type certificate. And we're going to incentivize lots and lots of computers to make these things.
Real quick, and we have 3,600 plus people tuning in, and a lot of people on Spotify who will eventually see this episode. Just circle back real quick, because I think a lot of people might not even know what zero knowledge proofs means. I think let's go with that right there. What exactly is zero knowledge proofs for probably the majority of people who don't understand?
Yeah. So there's different types of cryptography, right? And they have different levels of power. So hash function, it lets you commit to a specific piece of data. All right, zero knowledge proof lets you commit to a computation. It lets you show that a computation happened correctly, just the way it was supposed to happen, in a tiny little file that's a little tiny like verification certificate that shows that everything happened the way it was supposed to. So it's like a hash function or a signature on steroids, basically, because you can do any of the stuff you can do with hashes or signatures and way more. So that's the starting point. So if you can verify anything, what can you do? And this is frankly where a lot of builders got stuck with zero knowledge proofs, because they were so general and so powerful that everybody couldn't figure out what to do with them other than privacy and layer twos. And so this is kind of an interesting kind of point that the industry got to, of like, okay, we've got this amazing cryptography. What do we do other than scale Ethereum?
Yeah.
And so we had an idea around what zero knowledge proofs were going to be used for back in 2023. And we said they're going to be used as a part of making proof of work useful. So instead of like Bitcoin miners, right, that are just spending energy to secure Bitcoin but doing nothing else, we're going to use these zero knowledge proofs as the proof of work function. So this ability to verify any computation and show that it happened correctly, we're going to incentivize that. We're going to incentivize verifying everything. And so that was the original idea around Nockchain.
Interesting. So you started off with the idea of the zero knowledge proofs. So talk to me about the progression, because now, you guys have gone even farther, as you guys say, it's a programmable gold block value useful compute infrastructure. So there's a whole compute aspect, which I definitely want to target on, because compute is like literally the talk of the town. Everyone's talking about compute is the new oil. But there's that progression. So talk to me about the evolution then of Nockchain, starting from that to now getting into the compute business.
Yeah, absolutely. So we started out this idea of, let's just incentivize more proofs. Let's make more proofs so that we can verify things more efficiently and at scale. And we tried to just do an economic experiment in proof of work. And we really rapidly, within even just a few months, we launched last year in May. And within a few months, we were the largest zero knowledge proving network in the world. And we still are.
Wow.
By a vast margin. We've made over $1 billion.
What do you attribute the success to getting? Because that's first of all, congratulations. That's not easy
Thanks.
to do. But what do you attribute the success to achieve that from your
proof of work, man? Proof of work is this magic secret sauce that almost everybody in crypto forgot about until 10 minutes ago.
Wow. And you launched on Base. You launched where for those that might be interested in tokens, on Base, ETH? Where is it at?
So the token, so it's a native chain, right? But we have a bridge over to Base, and the vast majority of the trading happens on Base.
Got it. Okay. So you launched it, and then did the community really start picking up? Like, talk to me about the people who make up, I guess, the community of Nockchain. Obviously, it's a very complex topic, but you guys are doing a great job, obviously, but not everyone understands it. So would you say the type of people who are supporting you or might be more sophisticated and understanding of what you're trying to build? Or how do you, as a project who's building something infra and something a little bit harder to grasp, and like, let's say, a meme, do you feel it upon yourselves to educate those that are upon your community, or do you just think the community who are naturally aligned to you just get it?
We've basically changed our attitude around this over time. So at the very beginning, we were just kind of esoteric and talking about our values and what we were setting out to achieve for like a year prior to launch, just to attract a certain type of person that would appreciate what we were doing. And then after launch, we basically shifted to talking about the tech and the vision and the roadmap forward. And what we saw is that the main type of people that really got Nockchain almost immediately were the BitTensor folks. The BitTensor folks got it immediately. They were like, whoa, this right here is incentivizing useful work to be done. And basically what I got told over and over again from various early BitTensor folks, whether it was people that operated BitTensor subnets or early accumulators or whatever, was, if you guys can figure out how to apply this model to various types of useful compute, you've got the whole proof of useful work formula just perfected. And so our whole roadmap has been oriented around two things. One is making the proof of work function scale to encompass any type of computation that can be verified. And two, making the actual transaction engine ZK proof native. whether it's in supporting privacy or supporting whole applications that interact with each other through ZK proofs as the API. Those are the two kind of North Stars for the whole thing, which has led us to what we've been doing recently, which is, you may have seen this already, but we are building compute networks built around our proof of useful work. And the first compute network that we're launching, other than just the existing kind of regular ZK proofs that the network already builds, is we're launching an AI inference compute network in July. Because you can verify AI inference. And if you can verify it, you can subsidize it. So we're going to be subsidizing AI inference using the Nockchain emissions as a proof of useful work on AI inference starting in July.
Wow, that's a big deal. That, and I mean, you're hitting everything that is going forward, and it all starts with the proof of work. And it seems like it's that secret sauce. How do you feel? Let me ask you this though: how do you feel with compute? Because a lot of people and those that don't understand compute think of it as, you know, the new digital oil, everything that's running in all your AI systems, software, they need compute. And especially with some of these models that are just coming out, it's just extremely expensive and it's not going anywhere. What do you envision in the compute world, I guess, the demand for compute, say, a year from now?
I think that AI inference in probably about 2030 is going to be about 25% of the US GDP.
What is it at right now, you think, of the GDP?
I think it's probably 5%.
Damn. So that's pretty much and you guys are going to be at the forefront of that.
If we can subsidize it, the idea is if we can subsidize more compute to come on the network and be doing AI inference, and we can subsidize data centers that are already doing inference, we can subsidize even BitTensor subnets that are already doing inference. Go take everybody doing inference and get them merge mining Nockchain. And what we're going to see next is that Nockchain can start to act as a coordination and orchestration layer for that compute that we've incentivized and subsidized and captured onto the network.
And so right now, obviously, and again, shout out to the 3,700 plus people tuned in live, late night on base, Bill with Logan from Nockchain. Obviously, the demand for the token has been pretty impressive. Obviously, there's people who you've achieved massive success. So why don't we just circle on that aspect? How does the Nock token, I guess, integrate with all of this, with the compute and everything? How does it interplay together?
Yeah, so the way that we went about doing the Nock token, I think, is probably one of the things that was the most controversial when I was first raising our seed round back in 2023 and closed in January 2024. So that was led by Delphi Ventures with North Island Ventures and CMCC Global, some others participating. But basically, what was kind of crazy about all of this is that we didn't pre-mine any tokens. So we told everybody from the outset when we were raising the seed round to go do this idea. We said, look, we're only going to do a blockchain if we have a hard cap supply, if it's proof of work, and if there's no pre-mine. And so we've got a hard cap supply of 2 to the 32 Nock, and so that's about 4.2 billion or so, and about 50% of that's already been issued over the first year. And frankly, that's because the difficulty function only was adjusting every 2 weeks for a while. And the amount of miners that were coming on the network was so massive that we would have, 4x or 8x the amount of compute join the network in just a 1 or 2 week span. And so we just ate through the early blocks. It was really crazy for the first 6 months. But Nock is a store of value for all useful compute. So it's a hard programmable money. It's going to be a private money later. And so it's a hard programmable money that acts as a store of value for useful compute. So you get paid in it for doing useful compute as a part of any puzzle that you're merge mining against Nock. And eventually you're going to be able to use it to pay for coordinating and orchestrating useful compute.
Is there, so when you guys started this in 2023, you said, right, when you were raising, did you see the evolution of AI kind of back then? Did you see how, because I mean, if you think about it, ChatGPT and stuff was maybe released 2022, but it was, still very not mainstream at all, but it was very useful. People liked it. But now in 2023 with Knock, did you foresee the rise of AI even getting stronger when you built it? I know you're saying with that wasn't the initial kind of thing, but you got there. Like, are you surprised by the jump of AI in, I guess, the role in today's world back in 2023?
I think it'd be hard not to be surprised, frankly. I mean, we're looking at an exponential curve that's changing the entire economy and all of our ways of life. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely surprised. But this is one of the things that's so beautiful about this type of general purpose cryptography that lets you verify anything and incentivize anything you can verify. Is I don't have to predict the trend, because what we're doing with compute networks is compatible with any type of compute that you can verify. So right now we're doing matrix multiplications for AI inference. Let's say Google next year announces some new type of LLM that's built around lattice computations. Just an example, just some other type of thing that's not a matrix, right? We could adapt that same thing and incentivize that and do that and turn that useful compute into our proof of work puzzle. Because zero knowledge proofs are compatible with any type of computation. And so that's really like the magic secret sauce is I bet on zero knowledge proofs. And zero knowledge proofs are generic enough that you can capture any type of compute into them.
Has your team had so talk to me about the team, because obviously when it comes to projects in this space, one of the things that we like to do obviously is bring distribution to builders.
Sure.
But also it's a good place to have conversations for investors and those that are interested to kind of see, what the team's about, because project's only good about as the team behind it, right?
Sure.
So talk to me about the pedigree of your team, obviously, because you guys are, again, building fascinating stuff, complex stuff. It's not like I can wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what, I'm gonna build Nockchain and do all this together. It's not easy and technically.
Throw it in the Claude Code, man. Let's see, right?
That's true. Claude Code, do not fade Claude Code. But talk to me about the team. Obviously, it's you. Who else makes up Nockchain?
Yeah. So the original kind of concept of proof of necessary work, which is kind of the idea of using zero knowledge proofs in a proof of useful work network, was researched by a University of New York PhD student who obviously has his PhD now, named Aki Kadis. And so this guy is just this incredible cryptography researcher. He's worked on a ton of things. Mina, Alio, I mean, too many to list, frankly. And basically, all of Nockchain is based on that initial concept he had of basically zero knowledge proofs just being able to eat everything in a proof of work network. And so we've been working with him directly for years now. And then on the other hand, other people on the team, at various points, we had bunch of math PhDs, et cetera. But right now, the team's extremely lean. It's 4 engineers. So it's me, Chris Allen, who literally wrote the book on functional programming. So he's the author of the most popular book on Haskell. And then Jake and Joy, who are mainly actually from the Urbit ecosystem. So before all of this got started, and of course the Nock in Nockchain is of the Nock instruction set that Curtis Yarvin invented as a part of Urbit. Are you familiar with Curtis and Urbit and all that stuff?
No.
All right, yeah. Well, that's a whole crazy angle in itself. So he's like this kind of political philosopher guy who also made a self-sovereign computing project.
Interesting.
So that's where a lot of the people in Nockchain, myself included, were working on that, and from 2016 through 2020-ish before getting started here.
Wow,
and
so
the general idea was, let's make servers self-sovereign so that everybody can have their own instead of relying on all this big cloud stuff.
That's impressive. So you were saying that most of the trading volume, now that you bridge to Base, and Base is kind of has been on Base. You've had a lot of interest on the Base network, even though you're your own chain. And it's always interesting to kind of see, why your thought or what the thoughts are behind it. Because obviously Base, for those that don't know, Base is quickly established itself as, chain for the agentic agents and AI and robotics. I think have been slept on. I think that's a sector. But in your opinion, what do you see about the base ecosystem that's maybe helped propel Knock forward? Do you think it's the type of investors that are interested in the chain? Do you think it's maybe the commitment from the ecosystem itself? What are your thoughts on base when it comes to the compute and agentic agents?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, this really comes down to what's interesting about crypto and where's crypto headed. And in my opinion, crypto is really headed in two directions. It's a barbell, and everything in the middle is going to die. And so, on the one end, you have using incentives to incentivize crazy stuff to happen using cryptography, right? So that's BitTensor, that's Nockchain, that's Pearl, and of course using cryptography for freedom like Zcash, right? That's kind of one end of the barbell, kind of more cypherpunk type stuff, right? And then on the other end of the barbell, I think basically all the TradFi stuff, just making it more efficient and letting money move more freely and more rapidly and all of that. And so I see base as being very firmly on that end of the barbell. It's no shade. I like it. I think it's great. But basically, my perspective on this was, let's go get on base, and then I'm not going to have to pay all of those crazy cottage industry people that scalp all of the new projects and make you pay $1 million for a listing, do blah blah blah. There's this massive crypto cottage industry of people that are just grifters that try to basically take an arm and a leg out of everybody that's gotten a VC check. And so I don't fuck with that, basically. It's like I'm here to work and build interesting stuff. I'm not here to pay this guy over here to go market my thing or go pay this guy over here for an exchange listing. That's just not the way we operate. We're here to build things in a permissionless setting, and base let us do that. And so I really like it.
Yeah, I think gone are the days where sexes, especially like the grifters, as you say, or the intermediaries try and take an arm and a leg from VC backed companies. I think those days are done, because obviously with decentralized exchanges and base especially, it's permissionless.
Yeah.
And base has a goal of bringing the next 1 to 2 billion users on chain, and I'm very familiar with base. Obviously, I mean, I initially started off as a base only project. I mean, late night on base. No longer am I just base though. People, your boy Bill's expanding all over, but one of the things though is the fact that since they are establishing themselves and they found market fit with AI agents, with robotics, compute, and it's interesting to say how you bring in the real world assets, traditional TradFi on. They are making a huge push on that, and I do agree with you. And like I said, because of the amount of volume there, you now have users who are going to buy your project on chain. I do agree that the market's very saturated, and I do feel that there's a coming where most projects have to die. And it's interesting to see that your barbell spectrum makes sense. It makes sense, actually, and it's kind of a hard barrier to enter. But listen, man, I mean, any last words? Like, give us some alpha, baby. Give us some alpha with Nockchain. That's one of the things that I always love, Logan. You know what? Let's do this, Logan. I want you to think about this one. I saved this question for very interesting guests. 1 year from now, it is June 10th, 2027. Where is Nockchain at? What milestones have you achieved? What do you envision? And what are you manifesting for Nock?
Sure. No, that's a great question. So on the one hand, I'd say Nock has an order of magnitude more GPUs on the network than it has right now that have been incentivized by the AI inference market and network. So what that looks like is today we've got about 15,000 4090s and 5090s that are running on the network, securing the network. So I think what we're going to be at is probably about 150,000 equivalent compute power. And so then I think that next step, aside from that, is that we've got fully useful proof of work that can be tapping into, incentivizing, and coordinating a vast degree of uses, both of AI. So that's distributed training, that's inference and inference providers. And then on the other end of things, I think you're going to see full privacy implementation as an on-chain application. So like privacy pool on-chain. I think you're going to be seeing private DeFi that's all zk native interacting on top of Nockchain. I think you're going to see private dexes. I think you're going to see privacy pools. And frankly, I think you're going to see a lot of interesting computation protocols and additional compute networks launch on Nockchain by that time. So whether that's, I don't know, DNA sequencing being incentivized on Nockchain, we're going to be opening up the doors for people to permissionlessly launch their own compute networks on Nockchain. So what we're showcasing and doing initially with the AI compute network in July, everyone's going to be able to do that in 2027.
Wow. Well, listen, my friend, when the projects start building on Nockchain, let me know, man. I would love to feature them on the show because this is the type of projects, the innovation that I like to highlight. And I do think privacy, especially, is a fundamental right that is only going to get stronger and stronger. People wanting it because this is a crazy, crazy world that we live in. Logan, we had 3,800 plus people tuning in. We're going to put this on Spotify in a few days. We'll have some clips made. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Peace. All right, that is Logan from Nockchain. That I'm very, very bullish on that one. Again, nothing I say is financial advice, but I'm learning as you guys are. I'm learning about the projects in the space. Like I said, this crypto world is a very difficult place to navigate if you don't know what's going on. It just is. So much innovation happening on chain, but you come on late night and base to learn what's going on. And I mean, what Mischa's building with BV7X. Logan building with Nockchain. I mean, like I said, the prices across the industry might be down, but the innovation is getting started. Before we wrap things up, though, of course, we need to finally play a clip from our sponsor, and that is Send. Let's get this in there, baby. Let's go. Where are you? Let's go. Where is it? Not sure why it's not playing. Oh, that's probably why, because it's should be a video file. Let's see. I really want to play this, but I don't know where it is. Super, super, super annoying. Anyways, it's a dope stream or dope show. No, hold on. I gotta find this. Let's see. 1 second. Let's see. All right. Yes, finally we got it.
Mischa0x Osteonissus, Hera, Hermes, Icarus, Narcissus, Medusa, Ephasos, Ashalala, Susus, Minerva, Ecobubus. I love it when you couscous. Aphrodite, Mischa0x Osteonissus, Hera, Hermes, Icarus,
All right, that was finally I got the video to work. Don't know what happened there. That is a message from our sponsor, Send, peer-to-peer cash sent digitally across the world. Privacy features built in. But again, by the way, hi Rugrat, nice to have you on. You came on quite at the end. Hopefully you guys learned something. 3,900 plus people tuning in. I thought that was a banger episode. Tomorrow we're back at it again. We are literally back on this Monday through Thursday. We don't stop, baby. We don't stop. Manifesting greatness. That's what you got to do. Appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out again to the AVAX community. Shout out to the base community. Shout out to the non-cryptos community, whoever. This is Bill. Catch you all tomorrow. Peace.